Welcome to Let's Calculate Something. Today we're going to work on the Raspberry Pi Pico W lesson number 5 from Paul McWhorter's series. And what we need to do is take the value of a potentiometer, which comes in as binary up to 2 to the 16th. And we need to convert that to a value between 0 and 100. Okay? Now, he went over a lot of math in this video, and I put a link in to explain the point slope, or the 2-point form of a line, and how you calculate the slope and the intercept with an example. So go watch that video, and it will make complete sense. That you can watch it over and over again, and it's worked out really clearly. So that's what I used here. And what I did is I solved this so that I could change these values at any time, and I don't have to redo all the math in the equation. So I defined x2 as the high reading from the potentiometer, x1 as the low reading, y2 is the high value, and y1 is the low value. So in the example he did, he used 3.3 and 100. We used 0. We used 100 and 0, which was what the assignment was. So now I can change these, and everything gets calculated for me, and I don't have to do any more math. Okay? So the way I did that is I calculated the slope, which is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Then I calculate the y-intercept, which is the value of b, in a form that's generic. Okay? Then the voltage of our equation is just going to be the equation of a line, which is slope times x. X is the analog read, what we read in from the Pico. And then b is our intercept. And so then I print the analog read, the value I'm getting, and then the voltage, which we're saying is 0 to 100. It could say value, but before it was voltage. So let me turn it on and let's see. Okay, so you can see this is near 0. The voltage the value is near 0, and we're at the bottom of what I calculated. Mine jumps around a little bit. I had 304, and that's the value. So you're going to see a little difference when it's not 304. And now what I'll do is I'll crank up the potentiometer, and you'll see it change. Try to go to half, which is 50. A little too far. It's really hard to get. It's not a very sensitive potentiometer. There we go. We're about 50, and that's about half of 65,000, which is awesome. And now we're going to crank it up. We're going to crank it up to 100. Okay, so now we're seeing the value of 100. And so what I want to show you is if I just go in here and change this to what he had in the lesson, which is 3.3, and then stop it and run it. Now we get the 3.3 volts, right? It's perfect. And if I crank it down, we should get 0. And if we crank it to midway, well, let me do the midway one. We'll get about 1.5. 1.65 is about halfway. Okay. And then I'll crank it all the way down to 0. So now you don't have to do the math every time. You just change your values and you're done. So save this formula, save this code for all his other videos, and you don't have to do all the math. It's done. But go look at my video on Let's Calculate Something, the YouTube channel, and then you'll understand it too. All right? Thank you, and we'll see you next time.